The Alpha Sessions.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Alpha Sessions once again. I'm Lucy Wroe, and today I have the pleasure of welcoming back Minnie Birch.
Hello.
Welcome.
Lucy.
Welcome to the studio. You've been here before, haven't you?
A long time ago.
We were discussing quite a while ago, and you've released a lot of music since then. 3 albums? Something like that?
Yeah, I think I might have done some of those releases just before I came, and then some after, yeah.
And some singles, and you just released a single in November, which you did play for us, and we'll talk about that. But for anyone who doesn't know, what were your beginnings in music? Give us a brief overview of your musical life.
So, trying to think how to put that succinctly in a few sentences. I think I started just playing music with my friends in school, which is what a lot of us do, and never really thought of myself as a singer or a solo artist at all. I just used to play guitar in groups with my friends, and then we just started growing up. So people went to uni, and they got jobs, they got married, they've had kids, and I think there's plenty of people at university working jobs, kids married, who still make music, but it just made that harder for them to commit. So I ended up being like, oh, I still really want this in my life, and just ended up performing solo as Minnie Birch. Yeah.
And how early were you songwriting? Were you one of those at school, straight up lyrics, poetry? I know you've written poetry as well.
Yeah.
Which is something I'd really like to know more about.
I think I have always written. So from a really young age, which I think a lot of musicians say, don't they, that they have been maybe the kind of kid that put on shows for their parents and stuff. So yeah, I have always written. But I think, again, being a guitarist in groups of friends, it took me till I was maybe more in my late teens, early 20s, till I started to get brave about sharing songs that I'd written the lyrics for with people. So I don't think I did that until I was about 18.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And the poetry side of things, is that kind of what kicked off songwriting, or did the poetry come after?
Yeah, I think it came more when I had a bit of time out of being able to play my guitar, because I had a bit of surgery on my arm.
Right.
So I wasn't able to kind of write in the same way, and I think I missed that connection of sharing either on social media or whatever with people things I'd been writing. And I use writing a lot, as I'm sure you do as a writer as well, to like get through tricky things. So the natural thing to get through not being able to write on my instrument was to just write a lot of lyrics. And I guess because I don't know how you do, but I normally write with my guitar in my hand. So I think when I was writing lyrics without my guitar in my hand, they just became more like poems. It just flowed in that way.
That must have changed your creative process quite significantly, like not having an instrument to hand the way you used to. But do you think it helped positively, had a positive impact on the way you wrote music, having to change your perspective?
Yeah, I think because I think the only healthy way to look at it is to try to find those like positive bits. Yeah. Because I don't know if you have this feeling at all, but I do sometimes feel like songs find you, don't they? Like you'll all of a sudden have that little moment of inspiration. And I do still get those feelings, and I can't go and pick up my guitar. So that does feel quite frustrating. And I have had periods of thinking, oh, I'm missing catching them on the wind. I can't catch them. So I think I try to see it as like, no, it's a positive way of coming at your musicianship in a different way. And like today, I was just talking with Alan actually about, like, my good friend Chris Cleverley has played guitar for me today, and I just don't feel like a singer. Again, I don't know if you could relate to this at all. When you've got like your guitar and you're a songwriter, those things sort of come together as one. But when you separate those down, I feel like, oh, I've turned up today as a singer. And it does make me kind of focus more on those individual things and try to build a bit of confidence in those areas, because I can't be the sum of all my parts anymore, if that makes some sense. So I think it is positive in the way that it's challenged me to focus on those other parts and own it a bit. I think, although I've turned up today like, oh, I'm not really a singer, I'm just without my guitar, it's like, no, you need to be like, I sing and I write, and that is what I do, and like own that a little bit more.
That's interesting. I feel like there's a lot of people now in pop music specifically, maybe more commercial stuff, that are representing themselves as singers. And I feel like when you have all these talents, like you play instruments, you're a multi-instrumentalist, and you songwrite and make everything and perform, you don't want to just be labelled as a singer. Or maybe some people do, they're happy with it. But, I mean, do you feel like it's a bit too reductive? Like if somebody introduces you as a singer, do you feel like you want to go up there and be like, no, I also play this and I write this?
I think, if I'm honest, it's more a lack of confidence in my singing. I feel that when I don't think I'm an amazing singer or an amazing guitar player or an amazing songwriter, but somehow when those three things come together, I think there's a little bit of magic that I hope some people will like. Right. But I feel like if you're just a singer, I don't know, like, no one's inviting me to the Super Bowl. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't do runs. I haven't got a very big projective voice, but I think my quiet voice slightly matches what I do. But if somebody just said, oh, you're a singer, oh, could you get up and do this thing for our Christmas show? I'd be like, absolutely. Are you insane? No. So I think that's the thing. I feel like I'm a package deal, but I'm starting to try and I think that's confidence issue. So I think not having my guitar is making me own that a bit more and be like, no, I'm a singer, I can sing.
I can affirm that. I think all of us here can affirm you've got a lovely voice, brilliant voice. And actually I think it comes from an age of talent shows. There's something about the way, like, in the 2000s, talent shows put a big spotlight on people as vocalists and made this the big, like you just mentioned, the big belting, the runs, because I used to be quite down on myself about how I can't do the big belt run stuff. But actually that's not all a singer is, you know. Like, there's so much to be said for the way folk singers sing. There's a lot more authenticity in it, a lot more like delicacy in it. That's also beautiful. So on folk music, I want to talk to you about influences and what kind of surrounds you, what kind of stuff you listen to, and what influences your music.
So much stuff. It's really annoying when you ask someone to pin down what they listen to, and they're one of those people that says, I listen to everything. But it is very true. I had always been on the periphery of folk. I think give someone an acoustic guitar and they can kind of be on the periphery of that. And so I ended up playing a few things through this organisation we had in Hertfordshire for a while. Well, I guess it was a label really called Folk Stock. It was run by a lady called Helen Meisner, and she sort of brought local musicians together. I never really felt folky, but she kind of brought me in as part of that. And then I met people like Kelly Oliver and Said the Maiden, who were like local musicians really doing traditional folk, and I was like, that point really introduced me to like this world. And then I started making music with those people and really got into kind of like the more traditional folk music, as well as kind of, without meaning to, your songwriting just gets influenced by what you're surrounded by. I think I make weird pop music, but you can never know what you make. So enough people tell me I'm folky that I think I must be. But I think it's one of those things, isn't it? It's a very big umbrella. Yeah. So I think if you're a folk fan, I probably make pop music. But if you're a pop fan, I probably make folk music, if that makes sense. If you're a traditionalist folky, then I definitely don't count. But it is definitely more folky than pop.
But also because here today, like, some people might hear the songs that you're playing in the studio because they're very acoustic and sort of reduced, it feels folkier. Like you say, having an acoustic guitar and just sing and being very intimate, that speaks folk, because folk is sort of like more of an atmosphere sometimes than the sound, if you know what I mean. Like, if you're
I hear that.
But you do you sing in a folk duo?
Yeah, so I sing with my friend Kathy in a folk duo called Awake Mother. We're quite new, I suppose, in the grand scheme of things. So that's been interesting, because I've started to write original music for that as well. So we do some traditional stuff and then we both write. And there's just some songs that I'm like, oh, that's an Awake Mother song, and that's a Minnie Birch one. And I don't really know why, but it's a feeling in my bones. So there is definitely some definition. I guess for me, those songs are one that speak to like a more broad, timeless, otherworldly feelings, whereas like some of like the All on the Black song that I played, I feel that's set in a much more modern context. It would be a much more modern folk song. So maybe that's how I split them in my mind. I don't know, but there's some kind of division that I have between what's folk and what's pop, I guess, now that I think about it.
I understand what you mean, And the first song you play, Glitter, that's an earlier one, right? That's an older one.
Actually, it's a really old song.
About 10 years.
Yeah, it's a really
which must
old
feel crazy. But tell me more about that one and kind of where it came from, what it means to you.
Well, I think partly it was played today out of convenience of the fact that I got Chris involved, and we've played that song together before, and he only had a short turnaround of time to learn some of my songs because, again, I'm currently not able to play my guitar at the moment. But it doesn't feel... There's some songs that I wrote around that time that I would just never... Absolutely not. I wouldn't have played it to you. I wouldn't want you to hear it. But yeah, it just has stood the test of time. And I think for me that's maybe... I don't know if that is the song itself or just the doors and opportunities that little song opened for me. I wrote it about a heartbreak, about a difficult time. And then isn't it really lovely when you have, I'm sure you've had this, where you write a song about something in your life that's challenging, but then that song gets you that festival slot or that radio play or whatever, and you're like, wow, isn't that just karmic beauty? When you can take this difficult thing, make this weird, untangible thing that is a song, and it gets you a good thing. So I think like Glitter for me like opened a few doors. So I feel that she's like my co-pilot.
That's sweet.
I think Chris breathed a lot of new life into it actually, so he's made it something that I felt really proud singing today, because that is not the original guitar part that I wrote. I think it had like 3 chords and the truth kind of thing. So it's nice to breathe new life into it today, I think.
This is where it starts. All our glitter has fallen from where we shook this too hard, too hard. And they'll blame it on the time that we've spent apart. But I know it's my cold, dark, lonely and bitter heart. So bring your body into the hall. Go hang your feelings with your coat. Because I only run with those who tremble at my touch. Run with those who tremble at my touch. And you did not tremble, not once. And this is why you hurt, 'cause all your glitter has fallen from where I shook you too hard, too hard. So bring your body into the hall. Go hang your feelings with your coat. Because I only run with those who tremble
The Alpha Sessions.
That's also a beautiful thing when songs, they do stand the test of time, but they also evolve, because then they never stay exactly the same, especially when you meet other musicians and you bring people in.
Yeah.
So how has it been evolving from that point to now? It's a lot of time's gone by.
Yeah.
But musically, I suppose you must have moved through so many phases and met new people. But at this point in time, like looking back at that, how do you feel things have changed for you musically?
That's a really good question to reflect on. I think one of the things, I don't know if that's the era that I was making music in or whatever, but I think I felt very stuck by anything that I release or record. I need to be able to emulate that on stage. Like it would somehow be cheating or not be right to have a record that I couldn't. Yeah. And I think, again, having time out where I can't play my instrument or meeting other people, I've got to this other thing that's really freeing and lovely, where you're like, those are two separate things. Like what we did today in the studio, just me and Chris really stripped back, is lovely, but it's definitely okay to get in the studio and be like, where's the synths? Like, and, you know, like create a whole like world around your music and not worry that that isn't actually that. You can't replicate that as a solo musician. You'd either have to bring other people in, or the live show would look different. So I think I've definitely had a mind shift in it is okay for what you can do live and what you can do on a record. They are separate beasts, and that's given me a lot more freedom in the last stuff I've recorded. I always call it pressing the Disney button, like in the studio, where you just think, yeah, let's just layer up the harmonies, and it's like, but there'll just be one of you on stage. Well, there's going to be 17 of me on the track, and that's fine. So
there's also something exciting about that, like if people discover you by seeing you live, and then they have that feeling like, I'm going to go explore their music, and when they hear the originals, they're these are completely different, but they love them as well. And to have that kind of diversity is actually, it's more interesting, I think.
I'm glad you said, because I used to think it was maybe problematic that I needed to stay quite true to what I could do on stage, which is really limiting. So I'm glad to have like broken off from that feeling.
And you play live. I mean, I've never seen you live. I hope I do see you live soon. But do you play live quite often?
I used to all the time, but I've had 2 operations on my arm that have put me out of playing, and the first one was kind of in 2021, just as we were coming out of lockdown. So I didn't play, as most of us didn't, for lockdown. Then I wasn't able to play for a good while from having some surgery, and then I've just had some more again. So I had got back to playing, which has just been wonderful. I think because I've been playing, like you say, the glitter is 100 years old. Because I've been playing for so long, every time I play a gig, I always feel like this could be the last time I do this. Like, how have I lucked out? But I think since that first surgery, that little gap between the two, every time I play, it's like, you know, this isn't guaranteed. It feels really nice, but it has definitely been a lot less. Like a music career is so much about momentum, isn't it? In fact, I think you talked about this in one of your interviews, where you just took a summer off and then you were a bit like the oomph to get back into it. So I didn't really have that rolling momentum, and you blink and it's different promoters in different venues, it's different, and I just feel a little bit like I'm starting again. But then what a lovely opportunity to just wipe the canvas clean and go again, because at first I was like, this feels really frustrating.
Absolutely.
But actually it's quite nice to just wipe it clean and go again, I guess.
There is an element of that, definitely, of the mind shift that you were just talking about, but in this subject, I had that exact feeling. I used to be really afraid, because I think people try and impart on you in the beginning that you have to keep rolling, you have to keep going to keep up.
Take a break.
Never take a break. But actually, taking a break gives you a lot of more opportunities than you think.
Makes you a better musician.
I think, and that's also, do you think that's a lost thing for music careers, that because everything is so like in demand all the time and people are made to feel like they have to keep going, taking time off to write or to have your whole world changed by something like arm surgery and you have to rethink everything, like that's sort of lost on music industry. Maybe that's why music's becoming, I mean, it's an opinion, but music's becoming a little bit less connected, the way people write in the mainstream, definitely.
Yeah, possibly even like I hate to say it because I don't believe in it, but like the death of the album. They just released the kind of that single model, which I think we are moving away from, but release a song every 6 to 8 weeks, just drop a new single every. I think, do you know the artist Ellie Dixon? Yeah. She spoke quite eloquently about this, about like, just take a break. Who convinced us that we weren't allowed to take a break? But I think the industry, kind of whatever level that you're working in, it does have that feeling, I guess. Then it comes into like the slave to the algorithm. If you start posting stuff and feeding it, it'll go quiet on you. And I do sense that we're shifting away from that a little bit. I think younger or newer artists coming through maybe are a bit less like, no, I'm going to do things my way. And I'm like, yes, do that.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah,
I really hope so. But saying that, I liked that when I was looking at all the music you've released, that you have released albums. Because often I don't see that anymore. Even people who've been releasing for the last 10 years, it's often like loads of little bits and features and EPs and stuff. And because it is a big project as well to do an album. But why is it that you choose or have preferred in the past to do albums? Is it just the way it naturally went for you?
Yeah, I think that they just felt like they belonged together in a story, those songs. They weren't concept albums in that way, but they just felt like they belonged as a package together. And I've always been really fortunate that my dad has done my artwork, and we've done them as like kind of a project together. And I think I love albums. I love like structuring them. I don't know if you have like thinking about what's going to go where, and when you get that really obvious second track, the second track's always felt quite important to me, because you've got the intro and the ending. But I really like the whole process. But you're right, it's an expensive process, and it's a big project. But I don't know if you've ever heard A Grand Don't Come for Free by The Streets. It's a concept album, and all the songs tell a story from start to finish. It's really clever. Like, I tip-top recommend you have a listen to it if you can. I think I've just been influenced by, I grew up listening to albums. But then on the flip side, as somebody that isn't gigging as much or has had this health stuff that's made life feel a little bit more fragile, it's quite nice to be like, I don't have to spend 18 months on something and this whole big project, and you write something and then it doesn't come out for ages. And it is also quite nice that we can pick and choose to be like, I recorded this I might just release it now. I might just press the button on self-release it, just put it on Bandcamp only. I was like, it's nice to have that accessibility as well. But I do still like albums from the artists that I admire. I do like that. Yeah. Because I don't know, I'm waffling a bit now, but I feel it's like the definition of what a record is, like the traditional meaning of a record, like capturing a moment in time and archiving it away. And when you listen to some of the greats, I don't know, like even Adele's albums are named after the age she was, right, when she released them. And there is something really magical about capturing, like archiving, like recording a moment in time and creating an album.
Oh, I want a page to carry my cloak, and I want a heart on the end of a rope. So bring me flowers and bring me herbs, oh fairy meadow, with your words. Up and down, up and down, I will lead you up and down, up and down, up and down, I will lead you up and down. Are you asleep, my love? What dare my dove? Oh, do not haunt me thus. Wedding bells, take my hand, marry me. But these daughters do not obey. Meet me in the forest and we'll run away. Meet me in the forest and we'll run away. Up and down, up and down, I will lead watch me fall into the arms of a fool. That's what love makes of us all. It's what love makes of us all. Up and down, up and down, I will lead you up and down, up and down, up and down, I will lead you up and down. You asleep, my love, boy, dead, my dove, oh, do not haunt me thus.
The Alpha Sessions.
The second song you performed, I don't think is from any of your albums, or I don't know. I'd never heard it before. So is that an unreleased, is that a new one?
It's from, again, I think a little bit guided by the fact that Chris was on guitar with me today, it's from a project that we did together. There was 10 of us. We put together this thing called the Company of Players, and we were put together by a musician called Jess Distill, and she plays in a band called Veek, and the idea was to create songs based on the life and works of Shakespeare, which is as cool as it sounds. We all dressed up as Shakespeare characters.
Wow.
And performed. We did this little tour where we were all dressed up as Shakespeare characters playing Shakespeare songs. So it's like LARPing for musicians. There's no way of spinning this without it being really geeky, but I learned so much as part of that. But that particular song, Up and Down, is based on A Midsummer Night's Dream, and myself, I get to the point, sorry I'm so long-winded, and Chris both played in this collective together, so it was a song again that Chris would already be able to contribute to and do this afternoon, so it felt like an obvious choice. And it's again nice to breathe life into stuff that maybe has had its time, but
I mean, I didn't see that coming. That's
not on your bingo card.
No. But now it feels like something I need to see.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a little bit old-fashioned, but I do actually have the CD here with me today, so I could leave you a copy if you guys have anywhere to play a CD. Please
leave us a copy.
But you can at least see photos of us all dressed up as Shakespeare characters, which I know you need in your life.
Oh, I do, absolutely. This is what's been missing. I came in this morning. Before this, I was like, I need a face massage. I'm a bit tired. My eyes twitching. All of that has melted away.
Gone.
All of the tension's gone because I know that I can look forward to these pictures.
I'm Puck, who is a little impish, non-binary fairy thing, and Chris was Hamlet. So, have I got that right? Yeah. So I'll show you pictures of us in our costumes later. Absolutely made your week, hasn't it?
How do you? Yeah, that really has. It's only Monday. This is the best start to my week I could have imagined. How do you get into something like that? I mean, how do you? Because no, I'm not asking for a friend, but how do I find myself a?
I have to say, Jess Distill, who put it together, it really came from her mind of just combining two things she really loves, but also Shakespeare does have quite a tradition of writing music to go into the plays, and there is a lot of music to be found and rewritten and worked on, and it's one of those things where you think it's bonkers. You're still processing. I see you're processing. But so many people are really interested in it, and no, she's gone.
No, it's because I can just feel this low level giggle I feel like we need to get it out.
I can't believe you're not taking our reworking of the Bard's great works more seriously. No, but in all seriousness, it was a really cool project. We went to Stratford-upon-Avon. We worked with the RSC, but you're gone.
No, the RSC. I love the RSC. I missed it. I went there a few times. It's amazing. I actually love Stratford-upon-Avon. I actually do love Shakespeare as well. But I studied King Lear, and I was obsessed with it the whole time I was studying it. It was amazing. So,
well, if we ever put the band back together, I will.
Then give me a call.
But actually, as a side note, Chris, I know he obviously is here today. He had never read a Shakespeare, I don't think, before joining the band.
Wow.
Still hasn't read one to this day.
No, come on.
Yeah.
Called out. But I mean, that's brilliant that you can take the music from that, and now you can play in situations like this. You can just still play them, because I would never have guessed. Not that it would have had a sound that is like, if you played them like, this is weird, this must have been from some kind of LARPing. But it's nice that you can actually take that and evolve it and use it in your own life. Now I want to talk about the third song, the final song, All on the Black, because this was your most recent single. Yeah. So tell me all about that one. It's got a different vibe to the other two, I feel like, even LARPing. In here. Yeah, to the LARPing. And it did stand out when I was listening back to it, the actual, the single. It does kind of stand out. Well, I don't know why. Well, maybe just for me, it just felt like it stood out. Also because of its content. It was kind of relatable.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but how did that song sort of come into being?
So yeah, it is. I think it's quite a grubby little song, but it's meant to be. It really is about when you are at rock bottom, but sort of the people that you meet when you're down there, and actually how wonderful they are. And I think I won't harp on about like going through health stuff, but just when I was unwell and I was in hospital or visiting hospital regularly, you just meet some amazing people and you have such beautiful moments. And I think whether you're going through something, whether it's health or the end of a relationship or something, you always want to move on from that, but you get quite addicted to that space as well, for better or for worse. And I think it is just a song about being at rock bottom, but kind of looking for that way out all the time. And it's just one that I wrote in those in-between moments of kind of treatment and stuff, just about clawing your way back to something you recognise.
I wrote a lyric as soon as I heard it: hurts a little less if you already know what you're going to lose. Because that's the part when I heard that I thought, that's exactly the feeling. I think you really captured it. Thank you. But it is sort of, songwriting in this way it must feel good to know that people relate to it. Like when you're writing something like that, do you think about how it's going to be related to, or is it all kind of just coming from you and you don't think about the outside world?
Yeah, I think selfishly you don't, just because when you're writing you're in that space, but then you just hope so much, don't you?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you would just keep it in your bedroom and not release it. So I think when you are releasing it, but I do hope, and I do sadly think that is so universal about our connections with people sometimes, that we choose things that aren't right for us because actually knowing how it's going to end is sometimes better than going for what we hope would be a positive relationship or a positive thing, like losing something really worthwhile. Yeah. And sometimes we cut ourselves so short because we're so scared of losing something really meaningful. I think a lot of us do that, or have a phase in our life where we'll do that, because it is, I think that is so true, isn't it? It hurts a lot less if you already thought this thing I've gambled on was never gonna, we were never gonna land on the black. Yeah. But if you had all your hopes that you were, and I think whether that, again, so many of the painful things we go through are really universal, whether that is like a health thing or a relationship or something going wrong in another part of your life, you're just constantly like, the hope is what gets you through, isn't it?
Yeah. And I guess the vehicle of songwriting is what gets us all through in the 100%. End, and sharing all this music. So I'm happy that you shared it with us today for the second time on the Alpha Sessions. So before we hear All on the Black, I'd love for you to tell everyone where to find you and what platforms you're on.
Thank you. So I'm Minnie Birch, and I want to say in all of the places, but I'm not in many places. I think a lot of us are taking a step back from some of the places, but my website is just minniebirch.co.uk, and then I am on Instagram, but then I'm on all of those streaming sites and stuff if you want to listen to my music.
Wonderful. And anything exciting coming up for us to look forward to? Any exclusive announcements?
Yeah, I think this could be an exclusive announcement, actually.
Give them all the juicy.
I'm planning to take a show to the Edinburgh Fringe this year.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I'll be going for the first couple of weeks, and I'm taking a kind of theatre music show based on songs on the football terraces to Edinburgh. So that's what I'm working on at the moment for this year. Oh, and I have a single coming out this month.
Let's get that in here.
21st of February, I have a new single coming out. Yeah.
Exciting. Can we hear the title or any info?
You can. It's called Hook. So it's a little bit about Peter Pan, but it is also about coming to terms with not being able to have the things you really, really wanted to have.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming in. We look forward to hearing that.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll have you back on the show and we can hear it for real.
Yeah, I'd love that. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a real pleasure talking to you about LARPing and all sorts.
I love it. I'm going to go listen to the CD right now.
If the night won't let you rest, let me show you what I wear to go out dancing at 3 a.m. And if you're scared of the morning light, let me cut it and roll it and we can just smoke it away if you like. We can go to sex clubs when they've shut the bars. Anywhere that will take money for alcohol, money that isn't even ours. And I will never judge you for the hand you've been dealt, 'cause I once put it all on the black. I lost the lot. I know a little about how you must have felt. And I only date inappropriate men. They have tattoos on their chests reading, I will never call you again. And they're wearing red flags, they're still the ones I choose, because it hurts a little less if you already know just how you're going to lose. We could go to sex clubs once they've shut the bars. Anywhere that will take money for alcohol, money that isn't even ours. And I will never judge you for the hand you've been dealt. I once put it all on the black. I lost the lot. I know a little about how you must have felt. Or maybe we could stay home, lock all the doors, and you could wake up next to someone who just wants to love you a little bit more. You could sober up, go take a shower, learn that the best thing about you is your pain, that it is your power. But we just go to sex clubs once they've shut the bars.